Well, what a day this promises to be. We have had so much rain and so much bad weather. Today it's in the 20s. It's going to the low 30s, maybe even getting above freezing. If it does, I'll be able to paint. I have one more day of painting to do on the back wheel. I want to put that last little coat with the gold on. I'm looking around, is there anything else I want to paint? Because after today, big rain and big snow is coming. Just, you can't believe this. We're on Noah's Ark here. But anyway, I'm looking at the RD and I'm thinking, wow, this time last year we were snowed in. Looking at the FZR, I was painting the wheels, looking around at some of the projects I was doing over the winter. This winter has been a good one. And these gold wheels have floated my boat. One is totally done, and this one, it needs to have, I'm going to wet sand the whole wheel, put some clear with the little gold specks in it, and then hopefully it'll be a perfect match once it's buffed out. And if I don't get it done today, if we have interruptions or trips to Home Depot or attacked by a dragon or something, shame on me. I've got to knuckle down and take advantage of this day. I've got to leapfrog this day into history. And as I'm looking around, I'm just thinking back of all the days. There's been so many times in my life I've worked on a project all through the winter. It used to be model planes, now it's motorcycles. I'd work a whole winter, but I'd always know that day, the spring, first day of spring, it comes quicker than you think. And the one thing, it always comes. Whether you work through the winter and eat gefilte fish sandwiches, or if you polish a motorcycle, springtime always comes. So I'm going to flip all the battery tenders, get everything ready, but first I got to do a little oogling on my all these bikes. I got to rub their noses. And maybe while I'm having breakfast this morning, I'll relive that last ride we had on the GS where the tires got white. Every time I look at that video, the tires were actually white from the salt. But as I mentioned before, springtime always comes here in the Northeast, and when it comes, I like to have my project that I've worked on over the winter all set to go. And I think about it all winter, and I'm thinking about it today. So here it is, it's 28 already. It was 25 when I got up this morning, but it's supposed to be sunny, and this means we will be able definitely to paint today. Oh, they are hungry this morning. Oh my God, they're always hungry. They're like me. Now I'm looking at this wheel. Now, the whole objective of today, it's going to be difficult to do this even, is because I want to get the other wheel to have that exact amount of the little extra flake that's in those last coats of clear. It's a small detail, but I want to get it done, and I want the two wheels to match and be perfect. So looking at the parts that we already have done, this is always a little inspirational for me in the morning to get me motivated. I'm not that motivated. As time's going by, I'm getting less and less motivated, but I come down here, I check out the parts, all of a sudden I'm motivated again. And that's the high point of the whole project so far. The wheels, the lettering, all of the little parts that are done, all of the parts that are polished, but we have one goal here today. And it's a very simple goal, and here it is. I'm going to have to back mask, sand this whole wheel with 600, roughen it up, and then very, very carefully mix up, find any little spots I want to touch up, but mix up a coat of clear with a little bit of the pigment in it, and then put a coat of clear on top of that. And that's exactly what we did with the other wheel, and it really added a really nice little amount of gloss to it. So that's going to be the project today while we have a day that we can paint. So the first thing here to do is I need to re-back mask the wheel, all of the bolt holes on the other side. I don't want to have any chance that I'm going to get extra paint in those areas where the disc goes. But this will take a few minutes, but then we'll be ready for the sanding. Now I'm going to sand it out with 600 It's going to be a labor-intensive sand out. I have to fill in the tire valve again. And this basically is going to add a couple of days to the project. But you know what? I don't care, because as you can tell, spring is on the way, but it's not here now. This is not Florida, that's for sure. Anyway, I did get to talk to Ray last night. He's loving that 400 Kawasaki. He said he just couldn't be happier with that. I know Luciano has ridden his little bike, the new one. And my bike is not exactly new. It's 11 years old, but to me it's a new bike. I always try not to forget to mention Walt Prey for sharing all the information he shared with us, including the back mat, the late Walt Prey. An excellent modeler, by the way, too. Anyway, we are going to have this back masking done shortly and start the sanding. And I just cannot believe that we're closing in on this project. This is really just unbelievably good. And it was funny talking to Ray last night. He says, "You're really happy with that wheel?" I says, "Nah, not really." But I lied. I really am pretty happy the way it's working out. And there's just certain things in life it's worth putting that extra effort into. And I think this wheel is going to be one of them. Okay, so we have some 600 Indasa sandpaper, and this is the part at which I'm just going to have to take my time. I know it's going to warm up later, so if I spend an extra hour in here, it's going to be to my favor, because it'll warm up out there. I think we're already up to 30 degrees. I looked at the thermometer before. Karen's been reporting down to me, but the weather report is bad stuff is coming in very soon, so it would be very nice to get this whole thing detail sanded out and pretty much ready for the dry time and the buffing and the... Boy, having the two wheels done and having them both ready to put back on a bike, that would be really, really nice if I could get that done. But again, here's the point. Leapfrogging has allowed us to paint on days that are paintable and do other things on days that it's really not paintable, and it just used time efficiently, I guess is the right word. Now, I was going to go around here one thing and do this in real time, but let me just see if I wanted to show this if I can. Always like to do the first one in real time. Now, 600 cuts a lot better than the 2000, so I want to try to be careful not to go through. But obviously if I go through, I'll have to airbrush in a little touch-up. Hopefully that won't happen. All right, so let me just do this, show one in real time. But again, I will not be trying to have a race here. This is not a great time to have a race. And the 600 does cut pretty quick, so... But you've got to be real careful. You've got to be just delicate with it. So let me get the camera off the tripod now. I know this is the thing that people that are new to the video want to see. People that might be wanting to paint their first thing. Now see, here's a little spot. If you can see the spot here, I'm going to try to flash the light across it. If you can see it, let's see, right. I know I'm being real fussy, but that's what I'd like to get out. I'd like to have the whole thing as flat as possible. And once it's even the spokes and around here, anything I can get to conveniently. And then we'll be ready to, again, look for any areas if we do go through the touch-up. With an airbrush, we could touch this up with an airbrush. And then that first coat of gold, that'll have more of the pigment in it. And then that last coat of clear right on top. And if the day plays out the way I want, we should have this in the garage drying tonight. And it'll be the twin, hopefully the twin to our baby over here. Now, as you can imagine, this is just a labor intensive, and it goes on and on and on. But I know in the end, the final wheel is going to be that much nicer. Now, I've already gone through in a couple of spots here because 600 sandpaper will pick up every high edge and everything. So I will have to do some, well, some little touch-up airbrushing or whatever. We'll see at the end, but I don't want to leave any little stone unturned here. I don't want to have this project that at the end of it, I put it out in the sun and I say, ah, why didn't I just spend that rainy day doing this or that day or whatever. I really would like this to be really, keep saying it over and over again, really, really as good as I can make it. Now we've got exactly one half of the job done. One side of the wheel, one side of the spokes. Now it's a simple thing, real simple. Just do the whole thing over on the other side. And it is taking a lot longer than I thought. And I have gone through in a few little spots, but I have an idea for how to touch that up. That'll be, well, we'll see if it works. Well, and it better work. Now, I always say the second side goes faster than the first side. I don't know if that's totally true, but it seems true. Maybe it's an optical illusion or whatever. But we are making progress, and the day is hanging tough. It's above freezing already. Karen yelled down on me, yay! She's happy. She knows I'll be happy, and when I'm happy, she's happy. The birds are happy. Everybody's happy. I hope you're happy. Hey, anyway, we're going to grind away at this and pick away at it. I don't care how many spots I go through. I have a cute little idea of how to touch it up. And I'm going to use the little spray gun like an airbrush, use very low pressure, and make a small batch of paint with a lot of gold pigment in it for the touch up and see how that works. And then, well, we're going to see. Every one of these things is an adventure. Now it looks like I've got to do quite a few little touch-ups here, but again, I don't care about that. What I care about is the final result. But because this has really been labor intensive, more than what I thought it would be, I'm going to prep saw it down, tack rag it, mix up my paint. But first, we're going to have a cup of coffee and relax a minute. Or after a long morning of sanding, that coffee will taste great. But look what we got over here. Ooh, can I open up the lid here? Take a look?
Yeah.
Whoa! Whoa, and what is that?
It's got to be pulled pork.
Pulled pork, my favorite. That is just a little more detailing to do on this wheel. I don't want to miss any spots. And then what I want to do is go over it real carefully out in the sunlight and look and see if I've missed any spots. So you never know. We're working here basically on the fluorescent light, which the idea of fluorescent light is it shows mistakes. Well, yeah, I want to see the mistakes, that's for sure, but I also want to make sure I correct the mistakes. I don't want to go outside missing a spot, a big glaring spot. And by the way, this time I'm doing this with the urethane. I'm going to mix the clear urethane, and I'm not going to touch it up with the gold paint. I'm going to use the same pigment. So in essence, the thing is actually going to be a clear coat, and I'm just assuming that's going to work the way I want. Obviously, we'll find out. Now, it's really the detailing inside the spokes here that really takes, well, it takes a lot of time, that's for sure. But I know the end result, and it's so important to always keep that in mind. The end result is I want to have the best job I possibly can make. And if I can't do that, well, I'm not sure if this is all worth doing, but if I can do it, it's going to be very rewarding. On this and tack ragging it and getting it ready. I'll get this all set, and then the next step is I'm going to mix up that first batch of paint. In fact, what I'm going to do is mix the urethane 4-to-1 hardener, make a batch, and then make the first batch for the gun that has a little more than average pigment in it, so I can do this touch up. There's a lot of little spots here. And again, this is something I've been wanting to try for a long time. The alternative would have been to touch it up with the regular gold paint And I'm not so sure that would have resulted in that we wouldn't see the repair. But I know if it's all urethane, it's all two-part, I've got a much better chance at getting it to be a perfect match to the other wheel, because the other wheel is. The final coat is done just that way. So we're going to roll the dice, we're going to hope for the best, and try to get this as fingerprint free and prepped up. The weather is cooperating, but boy, Karen reminded me, big bad weather coming tomorrow, the big bad wolf. And this is the clear we're going to be using, the Gavco clear. This has just been pretty much the same as the 5-star. Now what I'm just doing, just going over the selected areas that I I definitely went through. So now what I'm going to do is mix up, I'll do the other side of course, then I'll mix up a batch with just a few flakes in it. And this batch has a lot of flakes in it. And the whole idea here is to cover the bad spots and then get that final coat to match the other wheel. All right, now I'm going to put the much thinner coat, much less flake in, and coat the whole wheel. Actually, the sun's coming out a little bit here, it's helping me out, but now that's a wet coat, and we still need to get on a full coat of clear with no pigment in it. This is going to work out pretty good, I think. And as I look from every angle, see, I try to check every angle, make sure and always keep the wheel spinning the whole time to minimize the chance we get any kind of run in that. Now we really lucked out in terms of having the weather, the sun. Oh my God, this has really been our lucky day, I guess. So far, anyway. So far. Now I brought that in the house. I'm going to let it sit in here for about half hour, 45 minutes. And that's always a good idea before putting on the final coat of clear. That'll have no pigment in it at all. And that should really, really make this a beautiful job. This turned out to be a good experiment, and it seemed to work real well because everything we have in that final coat is urethane. So now the final coat of clear I'm going to put on with my dedicated gun that has never had anything in it. I don't even want anything with it, one speck of gold in it. This is total clear for the top coat, and that's what worked great on the first wheel. I don't want to compromise it on this one. This is working out great today. Now the objective is we're going to use the all clear gun, very low air pressure, probably about 20 psi, and try to get this on, get the clear on in very thin coats, almost like an airbrush. Now that clear is going on just about as good as I could ever expect it. Thin coats, low air pressure. Instead of trying to blow on one big coat all at once and then run the risk of having all kind of runs, I just think that's, for me, a better choice. Now, the only thing left, I got to do the other side, and I keep that wheel spinning at all times. That minimizes the chance I'm going to wind up with any kind of a run. And what's happening, because we're losing the weather here, so it was real sunny before. Sun came in and out, but as always, we're at the mercy of the weather. Well, I think once again leapfrogging served us well. It looks like we are really losing the weather here very quickly. It really didn't get much above freezing, but certainly good enough for painting, and that paint looks like it's going to dry up. Oh, I just very happy the way that worked out. And when the sun did come out and I could see that wheel sparkling and shining, I know when this is back on the bike and we're out riding around, I think I'm going to be real happy. And while the sun is out, I hope you can see how that looks in the sun. Oh my God, does that look good? I'm not really prejudiced either, but that does look pretty good, I have to admit. Wow, am I happy with that. So as Ray said, are you happy? Happy. Wow. Boy, did we use this day to good advantage. Now, even under our fluorescent lighting in the garage, oh, that looks good. That is the definition of happy. And that's how, I'm assuming, that's how these quarterbacks, when they win the Super Bowl and they go, I'm going to go to Disneyland. Well, Disney World, wherever the hell they go. Well, I'm going to see Grammy. And that's going to sit out here overnight. And we are going to sleep well tonight. Boy, that is a big piece of the puzzle, having that done. And there's only a few pieces left, and thanks to Thomas Luciano, I think we're going to have that Kawasaki lettering pretty nice. We got to strip the tank, we got to take it off when we get back from Disney World. Still a lot to do, but boy, having that wheel done today, boy, oh boy. Now I'm going to hang out here in the garage for 15-20 minutes because I want to keep it spinning. I just want to keep it moving. That's always been cheap insurance for me. Well, this day went off just as good as you could ever imagine. I feel like I've been to the Super Bowl, been to Disney World, and springtime is coming. And we have used the day. The most important thing, we've used the one day in about 2 weeks that's really been a great day for painting. Oh boy, I sleep well at night knowing that wheel. I know I'm sick. You don't have to tell me. Anyway, I hope you have enjoyed the video, enjoyed sharing our life, our restorations, our soup, whatever. And thanks for watching.